Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I know we're coming at you a few days later. As you guys know, there was a holiday and it had been a little bit crazy, and getting the show off on Friday was a little bit challenging with traveling and having family around and doing my other show, as you know, daily. But I always promise to get these shows out to you. So we have a great show lined up for you, which I think you guys are going to really appreciate. Thank you so much for supporting me, for going to my site, believemeachieve.com, scanning the QR code, and liking, loving, and supporting all the great content I have. All right, guys. So the topic for today's show is revolutionizing tech, groundbreaking AI, game-changing cybersecurity. We're on Series 3, which means we're in our third year, show 27. And I do want to welcome you to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. We have a great guest coming up. I'm not going to give you his name yet. He's actually right here from Florida. I'm actually visiting there now. And it's going to be a really interesting talk, because we're going to be talking about technology and a very interesting topic: how to keep your golf courses in the black and out of the red using the right type of technology. So that's going to be something you're definitely going to not want to miss. All right, guys. So you know how we do this. Every week we have the reels, and then at the end of the week, I take the reels and I kind of get more specific with them here on the show. So social media reshapes elections through youth influencers. This is something that is really, how can I say, getting a lot of people by surprise. They're being called accidental election influencers. During this election, teenagers like Tulu and will have possibly become influential figures on social media. Tulu from London criticized anti-immigration rhetoric on TikTok, while Will from Somerset discussed Brexit and knife crime. Their posts, boosted by algorithms, reached audiences disengaged from traditional politics and often outperforming official party content ads that they spend lots of money on. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and how this transpires. But don't be surprised if the younger youth actually helps flip the election. That might be good. That might be bad. I'm not really sure yet. And ladies and gentlemen, Foxconn denies bias in Indian iPhone factory hiring. What is this all about, ladies and gentlemen? We always talk about equality. Well, the iPhone factory in India is basically not hiring married women, or so it has been reported. The Indian government has requested a report from Tamil Nadu following allegations that Foxconn, an Apple supplier, discriminated against married women in hiring for iPhone assembly jobs. Foxconn, of course, denies these allegations, stating it does not discriminate based on marital status and has taken corrective actions in response to many issues. Rights activists expressed concern about the reported discriminatory practices, similar to previous scrutiny faced by Foxconn in other countries. Now, we know that Foxconn was guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Foxconn was guilty. So the question is, are they going to come clean this time, or are they going to just try to, let's say, sweep it under the carpet and hope that they can just let it slip by? We'll have to see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and if you go to McDonald's, well, McDonald's is halting their AI drive-through orders due to technical challenges. Yes, McDonald's is pulling their AI ordering from drive-thrus for now, they say. They're discontinuing its AI-driven voice automated ordering technology that was tested in over 100 U.S. drive-thrus, and it will be removed by July 26, 2024, due to, as we said, many of the various challenges. The company continues to pursue AI-related solutions and maintains its partnership with IBM while exploring other AI partners. Despite setbacks, McDonald remains committed to integrating AI into its operations alongside similar efforts by competitors like White Castle and also Wendy's, just to name a few. The reasons that the technology is being removed is believed to be that the AI struggled to understand and process orders, especially with strong accents or slang. Noisy drive-thru environments interfered with AI's ability to accurately capture and process spoken orders. And I guess they felt that it wasn't able to handle the situation. I mean, the thing with AI is that you have to realize that AI has to be tested in so many different environments, right? And has to be tested in so many different types of situations and possibilities, just like with coding and software. You can't say that one thing is everything. You just can't say that, unfortunately. All right. So we'll have to see what happens there. And ladies and gentlemen, Verizon faces fines over the critical 911 outage. Yeah, this was a really interesting thing when we think about, what happened. Verizon is basically fined now over the 911 outage. I'm not sure if you guys were following this. And I think a lot of people at Verizon thought that this was just going to just be, skirted under the wayside. But I got news for you. It's not. The FCC is settling Verizon 911 outage violations for basically quite a bit of money. They're going to be paying over $1,050,000 still a penalty, and will implement compliance measures to make sure that this does not happen again. They were only out for a few hours, but that is a little bit of a problem there. So we're going to have to see, what's going on. And just because you're Verizon or you're AT&T, it doesn't give you liberty to do whatever you want when you want. So I think that is a really big thing that a lot of people don't realize. And Verizon Wireless is to pay over $1 million to settle the FCC investigation into the 911 outage in 6 states. The company is agreeing to pay the $1,050,000 penalty and implement a compliance plan. In Washington, on June 25th, 2024, the FCC Enforcement Bureau announced a settlement to resolve its investigation into whether Verizon's wireless violated FCC rules by failing to deliver 911 calls during an outage that occurred in December 2022 in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. As Congress and the Commission have found, robust and reliable 911 service is a critical national priority. Those calling first responders must be able to rely on their calls being completed. And to settle this matter, the Enforcement Bureau and Verizon Wireless entered into a consent decree that requires Verizon Wireless to implement a compliance plan and pay over $1 million in civil penalties. When you call 911 an emergency, it's critical that your call goes through, said the FCC chairwoman, Jessica Rosenworcel. Quote, today's action is part of FCC's ongoing effort to ensure that the public has reliable communications, including access to 911, close quote. The FCC rules require Verizon wireless service providers and other wireless service providers to transmit all 911 calls to 911 call centers. On December 21st, 2022, Verizon Wireless experienced an outage that impacted 911 wireless voice over long-term evolution, or the VoLTE, traffic in 6 states. The outage lasted for just about an hour and 40 minutes and prevented hundreds of 911 calls from being completed through the Verizon Wireless's network. The outage was similar to the one that Verizon Wireless experienced in October of 2022. And I guess we're hoping that they learned, but they really, I guess, didn't get penalized or really, the ability to learn that lesson. So I guess history will keep repeating itself. Hopefully, maybe Verizon has learned. Maybe if they haven't, maybe they might have to hit them with a $5 million fee, maybe $10 million next time. After the outage in October, Verizon Wireless took action to protect against further similar outages but certain failures recurred, resulting in the December outage. According to the Enforcement Bureau, taking any potential violation of the Commission's 911 rules very, very seriously. And sunny day outages, as occurred here, can be especially troubling because they occur when the public and 911 call centers least expect it, said Llewellyn A. Eagle, chief of Enforcement Bureau. Quote, "We are committed to ensuring communications providers uphold their responsibility in providing critical 911 services to the American public," close quote. As part of the consent decree issued today, Verizon Wireless agreed to implement a robust compliance plan designed to ensure future compliance with FCC's 911 rules and implement best practices, including performing 911 risk assessments and establishing enhanced processes for implementing security policy updates. This all sounds great. The question is Verizon really going to do this, or is this just kind of like a snow job to make people think that Verizon cares? I'm not going to say they don't care, but I know a lot of these companies, whether it's Verizon, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Google, whether it's Microsoft, they a lot of times just don't care. Even though they tell you they do care, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, they don't. It's all about the money with these people. That's what it comes down to, the money, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen. And Apple's AI privacy practices are now, yes, they are under some very severe scrutiny. What is Apple actually doing with your data? Well, at its Worldwide Developers Conference, Apple announced the new AI features and partnership with OpenAI to integrate ChatGPT into its products. Apple Intelligence, its proprietary AI, focuses on personalized assistance using your data like messages, photos, and calendar events, while ChatGPT handles general knowledge queries. Emphasizing privacy, Apple processes most AI prompts on the device and uses private cloud compute for cloud tasks, ensuring data remains inaccessible to Apple. For AI training, Apple uses licensed data and public internet data, but excludes user private information. However, I should tell you, Apple admitted to scraping the public internet for data similar to other AI companies, leading to copyright lawsuits and debates over unfairly profiting from human work. So I think we're going to see a lot of legal cases about AI and the fact that, people just pull data, and it's a problem because, the privacy that we care so much about, and we care about privacy for a lot of reasons. One, it's for our safety and security, right? The other reason is it is nobody's business what you're doing, okay? And so I have a real problem with AI in the sense that I feel that there's this big, going to the wolves, because there's no control over anything. And the only time there seems to be control is when people like the agencies of the European Union step in. Why is it the United States of America doesn't step in as often as the European Union does? I don't know. That's just a question I have. So Walgreens plans store closures amid financial struggles. This is right, ladies and gentlemen. Walgreens, if you're shopping there, is going to close many unprofitable locations, approximately 8,600 stores in the United States as part of a multi-year optimization program due to profitability challenges. CEO Tim Wentworth announced that around 25% of underperforming stores will be targeted. Yeah, that's a pretty big thing. Foreclosure, obviously, and focusing on those that are not profitable and are too close to each other or are struggling with theft. Despite a slight rise in sales, Walgreens shares dropped 20% amid a difficult operating environment and lowered profit outlook, reflecting pressures from inflation and competitive market dynamics. Most affected employees will be offered jobs elsewhere within the company. So the question is, are a lot of these stores, are they opening too many? Are they, just popping up because they can? I think when these big companies decide to open up, they really don't pay attention to the demographics. They don't pay attention to the numbers until it actually hits them in the pocketbook. And then they found out that they've got something they've got to deal with, which is, unfortunately, not a black book, but a red book. When a company is in a negative, we call that in the red. When they're in the positive, we call that in the black. So Walgreens is definitely trying to make sure that they stay in the black and don't get into the red. But if they don't close these stores, they know that being in the red is inevitable. That's why they're doing it. And ladies and gentlemen, Seattle Library recovers from cyber attack on staff data and also on the consumer data. So Seattle Public Library says personal information of some staff was compromised in the cyber attack. Information of its tech systems and services has notified affected employees and provided them with support, including credit and identity monitoring services. They are also prepared to notify additional individuals if more data breaches are discovered. The library is actively working on restoring services such as patron accounts, catalog access, public Wi-Fi, printing, and computer access, while continuing to investigate the incident to bolster security measures. I think, regardless of whether you're a small library in a town or borough, or whether you're a national library like the Library of Congress, I think having data and giving everyone, the ability to access it has to be done in a manner that can be conducted where privacy is protected. And, when you log on to these systems, they ask you for different pieces of information. I think that's a big thing. And unfortunately, you don't know whether something is actually right or something is wrong at the moment. I mean, you just have no idea whether this is the right thing or, whether it's the wrong thing. And I think a lot of people don't really understand why this happens. Bad actors target libraries. You know why? Because they're easy prey. There are people in there a lot of times that don't know how to use technology. There are people that come in there and they don't have a clue about what security is. So they figure, oh, gee, these are going to be easy prey. It's like taking candy from a baby. If somebody doesn't know how to protect themselves, it's a lot easier to be a bad actor with them, right? Of course, you can still be a bad actor with people that protect themselves, but it's a lot harder when somebody actually does take the steps and do the right things to protect themselves. And the fate, ladies and gentlemen, of donated vintage computers is uncertain after a museum closure is about to happen. This is a weird one, if I have to say so. So the concerns, as I said, are rising over the fate of the vintage computers donated to Paul Allen's Living Computers Museum. Computer enthusiasts who contributed vintage items like a DEC System 2020 mainframe, Altair microcomputer, and early Raspberry Pi to Paul Allen's Living Computer Museum, plus labs, are worried about the future of their donations following the museum's permanent closure. Many are seeking clarification from Allen's estate executors amidst plans to auction off parts of his collection through Christie's, including iconic machines like the DEC PDP-10, the KI-10, and details about other items, including the famed Apple I computer, are yet to be disclosed, leaving former owners anxious about the fate of these historical artifacts. I know if I donated something to that museum, even if I got the tax break, I would be concerned because if it would be sold off and it's not going to be able to be exhibited and shown to other people, that's the whole reason for donating it, so other people could see it and actually learn from it. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there, but I think definitely they've got some talking to do because a lot of people are going to be very, very unhappy. And ladies and gentlemen, Uber and Lyft, yes, Seattle, Massachusetts is forcing the pay dispute now having to be $32.50 or more per hour. So if you are operating in those areas, which is Massachusetts, the Massachusetts ride shares, they're being forced to pay the $32.50 an hour. And the rideshare drivers in Massachusetts will receive company benefits and a minimum pay, as I said, of $32.50 per hour starting on August 15th, thanks to a new settlement between the state and rideshare companies Uber and Lyft. The companies will also pay a combined $175 million, mostly to compensate current and former drivers who were underpaid. Despite the settlement, drivers will still be considered independent contractors. I think what's happening in Massachusetts is going to be the beginning of a large domino effect that we're going to see, let's say, perpetuate through the entire United States. These companies said that, they're not a rideshare company, that they're a technology company. and that they're matching drivers and people looking for rides. That was what they said. But Lyft and Uber didn't write their technology. They hired somebody to do that. So they were, and they still are, a transportation company. That's just their way of kind of scapegoating it. So I think we're going to see a lot more states besides Massachusetts that's going to force this. We already know that in one place they had gotten blocked. So we're going to see a lot more about this. And I think what eventually is going to happen is there might be another company like, who knows, it'll open up and be competition for Uber and Lyft. As we know, Uber has said pretty soon they're going to be opening up a service that's like a shuttle that allows people to get rides to the airport. I don't know about you, but when I take Lyft, and I stopped taking Uber a while back because I got stranded once and I just won't trust them anymore. And the Lyft drivers, at least in my appearance, seem to be a little bit nicer. The thing that all these companies do is they all play this game. So I could be going, let's say, 10 minutes from my house to the train station, and that could be as cheap as $40, or I could get zapped for $79 or $80. So you have to be smart and always choose the option that says wait. What I have found on these apps is when you choose the option that says, save and wait, that save and wait, which might be 15, 20, or 30 minutes, it never is 50 or 20 minutes. It's usually 1 minute, and they have the ride. I think it's just a gimmick that they have out there so that you click it, you pay $5, $10, $50, or $20 more. So go with the save option, and you're going to see that your ride's going to get there pretty soon, and you're not going to have to wait really 20 or 30 minutes. So a lot of times that's nonsense, what they're doing, and I think the government should definitely step into what's happening. Well, Microsoft AI chief controversially defends content replication. According to the new boss at Microsoft, this one is just an atrocity. The new Microsoft AI boss thinks it's perfectly okay or legal to quote unquote steal content if it's on the open web. Microsoft's AI boss, Mustafa Suleyman, mistakenly believes that once content is published on the open web, it becomes quote unquote freeware, that anyone can copy and use it. When asked by CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin, who he was asked if AI companies have stolen the world's IP, Suleyman asserted that since the 90s, the social contract has deemed such content as fair use, allowing anyone to copy, recreate, and reproduce it. So I think that's really a problem. And I think he's going to change his tune once he gets his first lawsuit because he's speaking this way now. But trust me, once this becomes a legal matter, you're going to see this guy either get out of office or he's going to change his tune real fast. All right, guys. And moving on to Toyota, they're doing some interesting things. Toyota's AI advances robot learning with basing out new code. This is really amazing. So they're learning new behaviors. Toyota Research Institute, has unveiled a pioneering generative AI approach called diffusion policy, revolutionizing the teaching of robots complex skills. The breakthrough aims to build large behavior models, or LBMs, akin to advancements in AI, skills without new code, focusing solely on data input. Using this approach, TRI plans to expand to hundreds of skills by the end of the year and 1,000 more by 2024's ending, paving the way for robots to operate dynamically in diverse environments. So I think this is definitely a moment of celebration. I think it's great what they're doing. My question, though, is what's going to happen with this? Is this going to become like a standard? Is this going to become a proprietary thing? Or is this going to become like a published standard that anyone can use? I don't know. We saw the challenge that happened with Wi-Fi and with a lot of open architecture with computers. And we saw how some of that got to be proprietary and some of that got to be open. And unfortunately, companies that didn't like the open started making their own proprietary stuff. Another place that this reared its head was in the car industry. We all know that when the car gives you those codes, you have to have spent the money for that device you can plug in. They don't just show you a code, which would actually make sense. No, you have to have that technician's device, which is, I don't know, anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple $1,000 just so you can read the diagnostic codes. If that isn't stupid, I don't know what is. I think it should give you the diagnostic code without having to plug anything in. So I think that's a really, really serious problem. All right, guys, and here's a real weird one. South Korean program simulates social withdrawal for parental understanding. What is this about? I mean, this is like something that's really sci-fi out there. Well, parents are choosing to lock themselves in cells at a Korean happiness factory. Let me just say that again. Parents are choosing to lock themselves in a Korean happiness factory. You heard me correctly. Parents are choosing to lock themselves in cells at a Korean happiness factory. So in South Korea, parents of social withdrawal and young adults are participating in a confinement experience at the happiness factory where they spend time in solitary, like rooms without phones or laptops. The program aims to deepen parents' understanding of their children's isolation caused by issues like job difficulties and health concerns. By simulating their children's conditions, parents hope to improve communication and support for their loved ones struggling with severe social withdrawal. In fact, they only have basically a hole through the door so they can basically provide the food. And that's it. It's a very, let's say, no frills thing, but they're doing it for a good reason. And I really hope that it teaches the parents what they need to know so that they can embrace their loved ones a lot more. This is an interesting one. The Euro 2024 introduces the AI officiating and player recovery tools. So this is one that is kind of neat. Cutting edge technology is on show at the Euro 2024 is now changing the face of soccer. So as we know in Europe, United States, we call soccer soccer. In Europe, they actually call soccer football. What we call football in the United States, they call American football. We're the only country that calls their football soccer. Anyway, so at the Euro 2024 soccer, it's embracing cutting-edge technology like smart match balls, AI, cryogenic recovery chambers to enhance gameplay, player welfare, and fan experience. Innovations include semi-automated offside technology using AI and sensor-equipped balls for precise decision-making alongside wearables like smart rings to monitor player recovery. And teams are also utilizing advanced recovery tools such as hyperbaric, oxygen, and cryogenic chambers to aid in muscular recovery during the tournament's rigorous schedule. So I think it's great that we're starting to make some of these changes and that we're implementing them. What I would just say is that we've got to be careful to make sure that we don't just throw these things in like right away. Just because they sound cool and they're interesting doesn't mean that we should actually just implement them tomorrow. We've already found out with McDonald's and other companies that are using AI, there are problems. We even saw problems with Boston Dynamics, even though they have a great robot they put out. If you saw the video that they put out about 6 months or a year ago, the robot seemed really great. But what you didn't realize about that robot is that it wasn't that smooth. That video was cut. And you can tell that it was cut. So the robot was really not as, let's say, agile and as responsive as you thought it was from the video. Like, wow, this is pretty cool. No, it's still got a little ways to go. I'm not saying the robots are bad. I'm just saying the robot that they had being able to give you a tour, it wasn't quite as on your feet or ready to make a decision or answer with the right words. It wasn't there yet. We're getting there. All right. We are definitely getting there. So technology, whether we're talking about technology for sports like the Olympics, or we're talking about technology for things like golf courses, which we're going to learn about very soon. We have a golf pro that's going to be coming on to our show in just a few weeks. I think you're really going to enjoy that. I'm not going to give you his name just yet. But as you know, what we'll do is we'll be launching out the tech tips during the week in Reels. And when we start doing that, it's a good indication that he's coming on our show that Friday. So I think you guys are going to be really amazed with some of the technology. And I've actually asked him for at least 7 pieces of technology that we're going to be talking about on the show and just share with you what golf courses are doing all around. Because the technology can make the difference to whether your course stays in the black or unfortunately dips into the red. So when we think about things like, different AI tools, or we think about, AI in our world, we have to be cognizant of how does it play with other people? Okay. Is safety being, let's say, adhered to? Is it being monitored? Is there any type of sensor in play? Um, are there audits in place? Okay. Do we have proof that it's doing exactly what we say it's doing? Are we able to reproduce things on a regular basis? I'm going to give you a perfect example. With ChatGPT, if you ask it to do something and you give it the query, it doesn't always do what you want it to do. You have to sometimes ask it multiple times. Something as simple as telling it, take this and write me up to 1,000 words. It doesn't seem to know how to write to 1,000. It makes mistakes. And I don't just mean by a couple, it could be off by 1,000 or 2,000. So if it can make these kinds of mistakes, and I'm using things like ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3, I've actually found that ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 has been less in making mistakes than ChatGPT 4. ChatGPT 4 has been very robust, but I also feel that it's so quick with the answers, but it really doesn't follow your prompts or your commands to what you even ask. It just kind of just runs at the mouth pretty much. So I think it's a really a challenge. So when we use AI, we have to realize that there's always got to be the human element. That's the first thing I want to share with you. Whether you're using AI right now to help you review a paper, and there's nothing wrong with using AI to review your work. I just don't want to hear that you're using AI to write your work. That's a problem, especially if you're using AI to write your work and you're getting paid for it. Don't do that. That is a really bad thing. You will write tremendous content. What you can do is write something and then pose it and say, hey, what do you think of this? What suggestions would you like? But don't make them. And then you can see if that decision makes sense. See, that's how AI should be used. It should not be used as this like big thing that just replaces what you do. That's just a bad idea. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but we are celebrating an amazing anniversary. Yes, UPC Barcode celebrates 50 years of global commerce. This is something that is really, really remarkable. I mean, the barcode marking its 50th anniversary. So the 50th anniversary of the first UPC barcode scan is a pivotal moment in commerce. The UPC barcode revolutionized retail by standardizing product tracking and automating sales processes, drastically improving efficiency and accuracy and inventory management, things in the healthcare industry, identification, inventory, and so many more things. Okay. Beyond retail, barcodes have expanded, as we said, to healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, facilitating safer practices, enhancing supply chain operations, and even doing things like when you scan a barcode, having it make it easy to actually program something like the barcode. When you scan it, could actually cause the scanner to go into a certain mode, or it could activate something on your network or a machine just by scanning the barcode. And so the barcode basically links to the number. When the system, sees that number is presented, I mean, it's a very long number or letter combination, it activates that, facilitating safer practices and enhancing supply chain operations. As barcode technology continues to evolve, which it will, with innovations like QR codes, right? And digital link codes, right? And lots of things like that, including the ability to have digital link QR codes. And its impact on global commerce, it remains really profound, and it will drive efficiency and transparency across the industries. Let me give you a great example. Let's say that you are, at a park, okay? And let's say there is a barcode on the sign, and it says to scan the barcode to get something. Well, maybe that barcode or that QR code could be a menu. Well, the nice thing about that QR code is that can be linking to a website that can be dynamically changed or updated with specials or etc. So QR codes became very popular during COVID. But now people are starting to realize that they're important, QR codes. So QR codes And QR code generators, you can find them all over the web. You might be asking, so John, where did QR codes come from? And so they've been around for a while. The first QR code system was invented in 1994 by the Japanese company Denso Wave, a Toyota subsidiary. But really, I'm mostly talking about QR in the original barcode technology, right? Like you see in the library. When you check out a book, they scan a barcode, right? Now, of course, they're doing other things now, like putting magnetic strips in there as well. But you're seeing barcodes a lot of different places. For example, if you scan a product and you scan the shelf, it tells you whether that item should go on that slot. Maybe you can't read it, so you scan, and it gives you a warning to let you know, oh, that's wrong. So when you scan here and you scan there, you scan the box, you scan the thing, and it makes sure that you're putting the right parts in the right bin. So I think that's a great idea. Barcodes are definitely going to evolve even more. The thing I like about barcodes is they're cheap. I mean, you can implement barcodes really, really inexpensively. And, there is very, very cheap. When I call cheap, there's cheap barcode software. You can get barcode software built into your Dymo reader or to your Brother reader. There is just really endless possibilities when we think about it. Of course, you could spend a fortune for barcode software, but you don't need to. See, that's the thing. You don't have to spend a lot of money on barcode software. Where barcodes get more expensive is when you have to make them more dense, like in the jewelry industry. I didn't even talk about the jewelry industry. When you have to print it out on a very small tag and you have to scan that. And so your eye can't possibly see that, but you have different kinds of scanners, like we have CCD scanners, charge coupled devices, we have laser scanners, and obviously something like that, we want a laser because it's so small and we want to be able to read it really quickly. Of course, a lot of retail stores, when you just present the item with the barcode, it just reads it. Now, and when you go to the food store, right, you scan your items and it picks up. A lot of those barcodes are pretty big, but there's some that are pretty small. And because of the advanced technology they have with the lasers that are not just one way, they can read all different ways. It's able to pick it up. In fact, a lot of stores have this thing that if our scanner misreads or our system gives you the wrong price, you'll get that item for free. Now, that could just mean that the barcode was read wrong or that the price was wrong in the database. So they're making a commitment that their system can be trusted. And if it can't be, well, then you get that item for free. So that says something, right? When we think about barcodes can help with size identification. It's a quick way of making a check, like I showed you with the inventory system, right? Where else could we use barcodes? Oh, we can use them in chemistry, right? To make sure that we're putting in the right chemical to the right solution. We could do it there. Maybe we are doing a delivery and we want to make sure that we're at the right place. Did you know the United States Postal Service and several other companies that do things like security, they have this little check-in code. And I learned about it a few years ago. And what it does is they scan it, and that's their track back to let them know that they were at that location, whether they picked up anything or not. Also, when you go to your, let's say, food stores like Stop and Shop, ShopRite, Food Town, and a variety of others, they have a code, okay, usually right by the door, you'll see a barcode or something. You're like, what is that? Well, that's actually a code for their cleaning crew. One of their staff members comes and cleans the windows or checks the garbages. They scan that, and that's like a check-in code. So barcodes are not just for identification. They help us to track things. And depending on what you need to track, it could be something as simple as a person's location. Of course, we can get more robust with things like RFID tags, but barcodes are really powerful. They're very inexpensive. And you could be producing barcodes, on your laptop. You could do it on your iPhone. And so Uh, there are lots of different types of barcode software out there. Uh, but I think the best thing when you think about, barcodes, is that you want something that's going to be easy. There are certain barcodes that are used, the 128 that's used for the postal system, and I always put them on whenever I'm doing a mailing. It actually helps your mailing go through faster because the what do you call it? The actual zip code I match up with the barcode for the same zip code, and it reads it faster. So those are some different things, and I think a lot of people don't realize how many times we use a barcode, or a barcode maybe is in our presence every day. There are so many different ones. There are free barcode generators. There is, I think there's one of my favorite things called Barcode. What's still, it might be called Barcode Mate or something like that. Barcoder was one I think I remember using. And then, of course, when you want it to be more robust, of course, you'll pay more for different types of solutions. You can get solutions that can be as cheap as a couple $100 and solutions that'll be a couple $1,000. And so it just depends on, what you want to print, what's your volume going to be. I think that's really, what it comes down to. And I think a lot of people don't realize how easy and how affordable barcode software is. You can generate unique barcodes pretty much very easily. There are even some label softwares like LabelSoft and software and barcode, and you could just add the barcodes right in there. And the thing is, barcode software you could purchase for probably anywhere from $20 to $100, and it just depends on what you need it to do. Do you need it to do merging? Do you need it to do other stuff? Do you need it to have really dense barcodes, right? So barcode software is something that has really come down in price because a lot of people don't realize that all you need for barcodes is basically just a good printer, and you need a reliable way that you can take that barcode off and you can put it onto wherever you're doing. A lot of people that use barcodes today, when you think, you start with a label basically, right? So you could do blank labels, you can do color labels, you can do shipping labels. There are barcodes even on things like your printers, like when they come for service and things like that. You can order pre-printed barcode labels. There are some websites you can actually generate barcode labels, so you can make your own UPC, EAN, and of course there's limitations. But prepackaged barcode software today is not very, very expensive. The one, like I said, that I like, there is one by I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I'm trying to remember, it was Label Software. I'm trying to remember the name of it now, but it was a pretty reasonable software, and it's like My Label or something like that, or My Label. I'm trying to remember the name. And these label softwares, they're very, very easy to use, and you can use them as simple for somebody's name, for an ID tag. When you scan the barcode, you know that ID ticket has been used, their ticket number has been used. So there's a lot when we think about different software. So you'll find it in mailing software. You'll find it in a lot of different things. But I don't want you to think that you have to spend thousands of dollars on mailing software for Windows. Like I said, you can even get it on your phone. I mean, there's really so many different applications out there. They can work, but again, it's called barcoding software, and it's really easy to use. And what you're going to find with barcoding software is that once you start to use it, it's going to be really simple, and you're going to wonder how you did things. Now, of course, there's companies out there that sell barcoding software for thousands of dollars. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars. You can buy something like a basic label software program and figure out the type of barcode you're going to want to use. You want to make sure the reader's going to read that, the program's going to read that, and you can put a keyboard wedge right in, or you can plug it into USB. So scanners are pretty inexpensive too. When you get into laser scanners, then you're getting a little more, from a couple $100 to $500 and up. It just depends on how dense, how small the tag you want to read is. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now. Sure you do. I'm John C. Worley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic evening. And of course, I'll catch you again on Friday for another JMOR Tech Talk Show. Check out all my other great content at believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing information, and we'll catch you real soon. Thanks, everyone, and be well.